Hello students, I am explaining chapter number 1, Matter in Our Surroundings for class 9 science. So in this video, I am going to explain the answers for the questions which are present in between the textbook. So you maybe have seen your textbook when you open your chapter. After completing one or two concepts, there will be some questions which we have to answer. And those all questions, one by one, I am going to complete in a separate videos. The whole chapter explanation already I have completed and I have uploaded all the videos on my channel. And now I'm going to start solving the answers of all the questions which are present in between the chapter. And I'm going to call that as in text, inside the text. So first all question I will say in text 1. Then the second question I will say in text 2 and then the in text 3. And like this I will make the videos. Once I complete all the in text question, then I will prepare the video on NCRT question. NCRT question means what? The questions which are present after the chapter, at the end of the chapter. So let's start with the question. And before coming to this video, I suggest you to watch my remaining all the videos in which I have explained this chapter, all the topics from this chapter. If you see those topics, then it will be easy to understand this question answer video. So let's start with the video. Chapter number 1, Matter in Our Surrounding. Solutions of questions inside the chapter. I am going to solve in text 1, which is present on page number 3. So the first question in text 1 is, which of the following are matter? So in question they have given chair, air, love, smell, hate, almonds, hot, cold, lemon water, smell of perfume. So these are the some things which is given in the question, and from these all the things we have to tell which all are matter and which all are not matter. So let's start with the answer. What is matter? Matter is anything that has mass and occupies some space. So the definition of matter is anything in the universe or around us which has some mass and which occupies some space in the universe. And mass means what? It is nothing but weight. So according to this definition, now we will see one by one all the things which is asked. So the first one is chair. So we all know that chair is used to sit. When we hold chair in the hand, it has some mass or weight. Therefore, chair has mass or weight and it takes some space into the universe. Therefore, chair is a matter. So I'll write it is a matter. The next one is air. You can't see air. You cannot see air, but it fills space. Remember this. Air we cannot see, but it fills space like balloon. If you take balloon and blow air into the balloon, you can see the size of the balloon increases. And if you keep that blown balloon on the weighing machine, you can see change in the mass. Therefore, air also has some mass and it occupies space. Therefore, this is also comes under matter. Then the next one is almonds, that is badam. As we all know, almonds are the dry fruits. These are solid in state and these all have some mass and they occupy volume. Because when we bring these almonds on the market, we will bring in the form of like pav kilo, pav kg, that is 250 gram, 500 gram or 1 kg. Means what? It has some mass. And when you keep these almonds into the bag or the carry bag or in a box, it occupies some volume. Therefore, almonds also comes under matter. Then the next one is lemon water. Water is nothing but what? It is a liquid. Liquid comes under matter. It has some mass and it occupies some space. Therefore, this will also comes under matter. Then the next one is perfume. Smell of perfume, or you can just write smell of anything. When you smell something, tiny particles of that substance travel through air. Remember, this is very important. Many of the students will get confused while thinking or while deciding smell is matter or it is not a matter. So whenever you smell something, it may be a perfume or it may be a smell of a food, remember the tiny particles of that substance will travel in the air. If you think smell of a food, then when you cook food, the tiny particles, imagine this is a food and if it is there in a bowl and if you are cooking this, the tiny particles, when you heat it, it converts into tiny particles. Those tiny particles of that food will travel in the air, and when these all the particles comes and reach to the nose, then we can feel that smell. And therefore there are particles in the air, and particles means what? Matter. So here when you smell something, tiny particles of that substance travel through air. These particles have mass and occupy space, therefore smell also considered as matter. Now we will see the next thing, that is love, hate and thought. What are these all? These are feelings or ideas. These all don't have any mass or they will not occupy any space. You cannot weigh love or you cannot weigh hate, or we cannot even weigh these thoughts. These will not occupy any space in the universe and therefore these will not come under matter. So I'll write here no matter or not matter. Write it not matter. Then the next one is cold. Cold is just a condition. What is the condition? Absence of heat. If there is no heat, then it will be a cold. This is just we can feel. It is not anything which we can measure like 2 kg of cold or 3 kg of cold. It is nothing like that. Therefore, it is not a substance and therefore cold is also not a matter. And that's why now if you see according to question or according to the explanation, chair, air, almonds, lemon water, smell of perfume, these all are matter. These all comes under matter. And love, hate, thought, cold, these all are not matter. Remember this. Now the note which we have to remember, that this is just for extra information I am giving. No need to write it in your exam. If you can touch, if you can touch it, feel it, or it spread because of particles, then it comes under matter. If it's just a feeling or idea, then it is not a matter. Remember, this is the important note I'm giving for you people. You just remember it. You can write it in your notebook, but you don't write these the 2 points which I'm giving in the note in your exam. So this is the answer for question number 1. Now we'll move with question number 2. Now the next question is, give reason for the following observation. The observation is, the smell of hot sizzling food reaches you several meters away, but to get the smell of from cold food you have to go too close. The reason we have to explain the reason for this fact. So the fact is, you can get the smell of hot sizzling food from several meters, but if you want to take the smell of cold food, then you have to go near that food. The reason for this is, answer, the smell of food spreads through diffusion. Remember, always the smell means what? It contains those particles of that food. And these all particles should undergo diffusion, means they should move from higher concentration to lower concentration. If you are cooking a food in a kitchen, then the kitchen will have the higher concentration of those food particles. These all food particles should move from kitchen to hall or to the other room. That is called as diffusion. And if they move, then only we can feel that smell. You can get the smell in the hall also. This is the main thing. Now, in case of hot sizzling food, the particles have more kinetic energy. This already I have explained in the explanation of chapter. You may watch those all the videos. Whenever we heat any matter, the heat energy will be absorbed by those all the particles and they will get more kinetic energy. They will start vibrating faster. They move faster. So they move faster because of higher temperature. So the smell of food particles spreads quickly and travel far distance, reaching you from several meters away. For example, if this is the food here and if you are cooking, when you cook, the heat energy will be absorbed by this particle and these particles, small particles, will get the energy, kinetic energy of this particle increases, and when they diffuse, when they move from higher concentration to the lower concentration, the movement, the speed of this movement become faster, and therefore you can easily get the smell of hot food if you are standing several meters away also. That's why you maybe have seen while traveling on the road, if there is a hotel on the roadside, if you are there on the bike, still you can get the smell of the food from that hotel because the food is hot. But what about cold? So in cold food, the particle have less kinetic energy. In case of cold food, the particles the particles will be there in the air, but they have less kinetic energy. Therefore, they move very slowly. To move from a bowl or to kitchen to the hall, it will take more time. And therefore, the smell of the particles spreads slowly and don't travel far. So you need to go closer to take the smell. I hope you will understand the explanation of question number 2. Now we are going to move with question number 3. Question number 3, a diver is able to cut through water in a swimming pool. Which property of matter does this observation show? A diver means the person who is swimming. So whenever a person is swimming in the water, he can cut the water and dive or swim faster. So what this property, which property of a matter you can relate with this? So the answer is, this observation shows that particle of matter have space between them. Remember, water can be shown like this. This is the arrangement of particle in water and this is the arrangement of particle in solid. And what about air? In air, we can show the particle far from each other like this. Let me draw some of the more particles in liquid. So imagine if this is liquid and this is called as gas. So let me write it here. This is gas, this is liquid, and here it is solid. So in case of water, because this water have space between the particles, the diver can easily move his hand into these particles. So see the next, water is liquid, and in liquids particles are not tightly packed. You can see in this diagram. There are spaces between the particles. Yes, compared to solid, there are spaces between the particles. When diver moves through water, the particle move aside easily. So when the diver puts his hand like this in between the space, these particles will go on the other side and these particles will move on this side, and therefore diver hand will get the space to move in the water, therefore allowing the diver to pass through. So this will help, or this process will help the diver to pass through in the water. So I hope you'll understand the answer of this question. Now we'll move to the next question. Now the next question, that is fourth one, what are the characteristics of the particle of matter? So very important question. Many of the times this question will be asked in the exam. And this is the basic of matter. So you should remember, everybody should know these 4 points. So the answer is, first characteristic, particles of matter are very small. We have seen these all the notes. I have explained these all the points in my videos where I have explained this chapter, that is matter in our surrounding. Go through my channel, watch my videos. Even with the activities I have explained. So let's start the answer. Particles of matter are very small. They are so tiny that we cannot see them with the naked eyes. So this is the characteristic, first one. Second, particles of matter have space between them. Remember, the particles of matter have space between them. In solid, the space is very, very less, negligible. We can completely neglect. Particles are compactly arranged. In liquid, there is a space. In gases, the space is high. This space allows substance to be compressed or mixed. So that's why in water, we can mix solids like sugar or salt or ink. When we add solid or sugar into salt or sugar into water, it get completely dissolved. For example, if this is water, these are the water particles, and in this if you add sugar or salt, this sugar salt will get dissolved, broken into small pieces, and these small pieces will occupy the space between the water particles, and therefore the quantity or level of this water will not increase. Third characteristic, particles of matter are constantly moving. Remember, because they have space between the particles, these particles will be continuously moving. But it is different in different states. In solid, the movement is very, very less. In liquid, the movement is high because space increase. In gases, this movement is very, very high because the space will be high. So let me explain these two lines. They are always in motion, which is called as diffusion. So the diffusion process takes place just because they are constantly moving. They move from higher concentration to lower concentration. And remember, this movement is depend on the temperature. If the temperature increased, particle will get the kinetic energy. The movement will become faster. If the temperature is less, then the kinetic energy decreases and the movement becomes slow. Fourth characteristic, particles of matter attract each other. There is a force of attraction between the particle that keeps them together. So if you see solid, all the particles are closely packed. So here what we can say, why they are closely packed? Because in these two particles, there is a force of attraction. So this first particle will attract this second particle, and the second particle will attract this first particle. So this attraction, force of attraction is very high in solid. That's why it is compactly arranged. But in case of liquid, if you see this, the particles are far from each other. There is a space because this force of attraction between the particles is little less. Compared to solid, this force is little less, and that's why these can move easily. But the same thing if you see in case of gases, there is a very high space, intermolecular space. See the space between the particle. Why the space is more? Because the attraction is less, but still they have the force, and that's why the gas particles are together. Because of this force of attraction, in solids also we can see particles are together. In liquids also we can see particles are together. Even in gases, the particles are together. So these are the 4 characteristics of matter, and this is the answer for this question. So with this, I have completed the answers for the questions from in text 1, which are present on page number 3. If you like my videos, share my videos with your friends and please consider subscribing my channel if you are getting little bit also help from these all the videos. And very important thing, remember, I am going to solve all the questions from this chapter, and even I'm going to solve all the NCERT questions which are present at the end of the chapter. So write these all the answers in your notebook and keep it properly so that you can prepare these answers during your class test or during your semester examination or during your final examination. Thank you so much.